Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Fourth Estate Militia Actual Play. We've handled a lot of things behind the scenes through play-by-post, so you'll be jumping straight into the thick of it. In this episode, the runners, all strangers to one another, have each been hired to provide a little muscle, a little backup to several of the small gangs in the Redmond Barrens during a meet. It seems the gang leaders need to hash out a few details, but don't quite trust the fellows across the table. Nothing ever goes wrong when you have a handful of small-time gangs together in the Barrens, right? It's time to begin episode 1. Take that, Chicharron.
Kendall, you're next up. Do you want to describe the gang that has drafted you into their ranks currently?
I can most certainly do that. So when I came up, there was just a strange, torn-up building where smoke was pouring out of holes in the ceilings. There were animal skins, and I'm being polite in the way I say that. Dogs and devil rats and cats and other things that could be caught. Their skins are out in the sun being dried. Um, the people, quotation marks, people, were dressed in very much like homemade leathers and animal furs, and some people had a little bit better armor, but it was very much like modern primitives. Nothing really technological, not like you would expect. Like people carrying melee weapons and handmade spears and axes and nothing to freak out about at all.
Not at all.
And I do believe I saw less than half a dozen actual rifles at the camp I was sent to. Sticking with the Mad Max kind of theme, I would assume it'd be a couple of cobbled together Toyota Gophers, just big pickup trucks that could handle lava flats and dips and all the crap you would find way out in the Barrens. And kind of being the guest of honor, I would imagine that Kennel would be sat in the bed of the truck, facing to the rear, so that he couldn't necessarily see where they were taking him. And they would be hooting and yelling and banging things on the sides of these beat up trucks the whole drive.
So yeah, as you pull up, has Kendall had any sort of formal education of any sort whatsoever?
When he was in the foster care system, he had the mandatory schooling, but when his dad got out of jail again, it was more, you need to work and earn money so we can keep a roof over our heads. So, I mean, he knows how to read, he knows basic math, but he is definitely not going to be impressing anybody or getting a scholarship based on scholastic aptitude anytime soon.
Basically, would he know what a school would look like, typically?
What a school would look like?
Yes, a public school.
Maybe. It's been a long time since he's seen one. He might be able to piece it together, but that's kind of a crapshoot.
Okay.
I just the people that I've known who've been through the foster system, they had a lot of homeschooling, so I always imagine the schooling being more in the living room or in the garage kind of thing for foster kids.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that then. Yeah, pulling up, there's a large split structure building. Again, everything. You would think it would be a prison if there was more barbed wire and razor wire to this place, or at least would have used to have been a prison at one point or another. The brick is old, mostly black from the smog and soot from the city proper, having been blown over on this place and layered and caked it in nasty grime. But as you pull in, all of the hosting gang that you're coming into, they are all orcs and trolls of some sort. There's not a single person that you see that's not an orc or a troll.
That's nice. It feels like home. That's nice.
And they're in much better gear than the guys that you have currently are. Whereas your guys are in, whereas the Iron Mutts, as what they're called, have junkyard jaws and occasional basic cybernetics. These guys actually have, well, not a whole lot of wear. They actually have proper armor jackets on, or at least clothing of some sort, with firearms and all those normal things. that you would expect of a proper gang.
They're doing well enough they can actually afford to have sleeves on their shirts and laces in their boots.
Yes, yeah. While they're obviously a small time, they're doing well or have some sort of sponsorship. And as you pull in, large areas of this place are barricaded. That they've turned this place what kind of looks like what was meant to at least at one point been intimidating. They have turned it into a proper fortress. Well, there's no gun mounts. There are static areas of. There are areas that have barbed wire across the front of a doorway. There are shutters in place or scrap metal bolted into windows. And as you walk up, everyone is escorted inside into a very large, cleared out building. Metal rafters overhead, a slick, bared concrete floor. Some areas that are cracked and has some debris sticking up that they obviously couldn't break without sledgehammer or a lot of work. And instead of you being led inside, Brucey just goes, hey man, stay outside, stay at the car. If something goes wrong, come inside and get me.
You sure you don't want me with you, man? I'm pretty good with people. I'm just saying, you need someone to talk, I can talk. You need someone to throw down, I can throw down too. But I'm just saying, I got you covered on both sides.
Nah, man, this is family stuff.
He will do that gangster handshake that has like 16 different moves that I've always seen in the movies and never known anyone in real life to do. And he'll just tell him, "It's like, all right, player, I got your back. You give me the word. I'll be waiting you right here."
No, does Kennel have? I forget what your dog's name was.
He's Hodor.
Yeah, okay, Hodor. Does Kennel have Hodor with him?
For fun, we'll say yes because normally I come in on the Scorpion and I have the sidecar that is just for Hodor, so there's no reason why he wouldn't be with us. For the rest of the people, he's a a crossbreed between a bulldog and an American pit bull, so they're called American bullies back in the States. So he has a big fat head and a small muscular body, and he is perpetually stupid, but he is loyal and he has a lot of fun.
Horatio, do you want to do you want to talk about your gang or
Yeah.
do you want to take that away?
Well, the Forgotten Boys are from a deep part of the Redmond Barrens that borders the Crimson Crash Turf. And like their namesake, they are very much forgotten in that nobody has ever heard of them ever before this day. They are big on self-importance and big on urban camo, and most people tend to forget about them because they wrote them off a long time ago, but somehow they just keep on surviving. They're pretty much entirely orc, but they have a bunch of orc posers, and they're going to roll up in a whole bunch of like converted Americars that have been shot and broken down and then repaired and then shot and broken down and then repaired and then shot and broken down again. And now the doors don't match, bullet holes that have been filled in. Parts of them are kind of rusted. Sully, of course, is going to be in the lead car. He doesn't unfortunately get to drive because he has no legs, so he can't use the pedals. But he's clearly the man in charge. And Horatio, being the new guy, is going to be on the top of one of these vehicles because they're not going to let him ride inside.
So he's riding on the top of a car.
Yeah, he's not driving it. The Forgotten Boys are going to be driving it. Because they've all piled into one of these Americars, and they have like 6 to 8 orcs or orc posers piled into each car. So in order to make room for him, he's kind of like half out of the sunroof, and one leg in, and maybe he's used like his belt to actually strap himself to a piece of the car, so that if they took a real sharp turn, he wouldn't go flying.
So he's an urban equivalent of an upgunner.
That's right.
All right.
And he's even got the golden AK to show everybody that he's a real gangster. It's all about the flash. If you have the flash, then you're a successful ganger.
So yeah, pulling up, there's there's these cars that instead of like yours that have been repaired with metal and proper equipment have been gone over with furs of some sort of mutts and cats and all other sort of urban creatures to keep to keep them from being able to peer inside. There's roughly 10 large humans, orcs, and a handful of trolls standing outside, each of them in the urban tribal attire. And you'd have been filled in on who these guys are on the way. They're known as the Iron Butts. Each of them, all of them, have a junkyard jaw. Completely replace their jaws with just this big metal bear trap looking thing. And as you pull in, you get an odd look because you don't exactly blend in with the group. You see one other troll who also doesn't blend in with the neo tribals who are all out here at this time. Where would you be, Kendall? Like, would you actually be like up against the cars? Would you be like on the side of the building? Where would you be at?
Staying close to the door, but not directly in front of it. I've played with Lunok too many times to get doored like Brig does in every single game. So one of those like off to a slight angle, but close enough that he could sprint through the door if need be. And usually he will do it under the pretense of playing with the ball with the dog. If he wants to go a little bit closer to the door to glance in, he'll throw the ball that way and just kind of follow the dog to retrieve the ball. So not just chilling out in the car, just being lazy, but trying to stay a little bit mobile between the two, between the car, which is his way out, and the door, which is where his employer went in.
Is there anything that you do, Horatio, as far as like whenever you're pulled in, you're told again to stay out here with the vehicles, but stay nearby to where you can respond if need be?
Oh, you got it, boss. I'll watch those snatchers. They do anything, they're done. And then you can have their pelts. Their pelts. Their furs or skins or whatever they are. Because we got to stay warm. It's going to be a cold winter.
All right. I get it. Just keep an eye out. You scan.
I scan.
But we've been fighting with these guys for a while. Just keep your head on straight.
Gives him a big empathetic nod, and then he does like the two fingers to his eyes, and then looks at all the other people around like he's clearly watching them.
At that, Kennel can't help but to adjust the giant crime gloves that he has on his hands and just flex giant troll-sized fists.
Juliet, yeah, do you want to introduce your group or at least yourself?
The Urizies are your typical Trog Go gang. Plenty of road hogs and choppers to go around, all of them decked out with crudely welded on scrap metal, heavy exhaust tubes, LEDs, that sort of fun stuff. Everything to provide either protection or better ramming plates, who knows. They're mostly orcs, but a good mix of trolls and dwarves in among them. They'll look like your typical leather jacketed, violent wannabes. As for Juliet herself, she actually fits in pretty well. She's a short little fire plug of a dwarf, stands just a tiny bit over 4 feet tall, almost as wide as she is tall, for that matter. At least when you look at her. Dirty mop of, could be reddish, more like orange, carrot top, that sort of thing. She's decked out more or less in the same way that her current associates are. Heavy biker jacket, lots of little LEDs sewn in, slogans, that sort of thing. She'd fit in with any kind of neo-anarch, go gang, just streaking in general sort of crowd. She's got the looks to match. At the moment, she's got an AK slung over one shoulder, and that's about the only other thing that really stands out for her.
So yeah, instead of the convoy of 3 to 4 very packed out vehicles, the Yersies are again screaming, hooping, and hollering. The occasional shot from a pistol going off in some wild direction for the fun of it. Several bikes circle around outside of everybody else, very similar to the old school circling the wagons around an area. Just make a big U shape across the back of the building, where everybody else has cars further inside. On the backs of several of these trolls are a few dwarves screaming out directions and telling them where to go, what to do. One in particular is screaming out in an Irish accent. I can't do an Irish accent, so I'm not going to attempt it. As he begins leading them inside, and he hollers for Juliet.
Yeah?
All right then, love. You should stay outside, please.
Whatever you say.
And don't try to cause too many issues. The boy that you hit, he still hasn't quit throwing up.
Uh-huh. His problem.
Keep outside. Make sure nobody takes their bikes, screws with them. Otherwise, I'll have your head.
Does that mean the roof's off limits too?
No, have fun. If you get shot, it's on you. I don't care.
Yeah, the first thing you should be doing is scrambling up to the roof. See if you can get a better bird's eye view of the area and eye on what's going on inside.
Would you mind rolling me a perception check, please?
There you go.
You probably smell him before you see him. As you get up there, you notice a pile of debris off in one corner, and just something about it draws your eye. And as you sit there for a second, you notice it moves. It's a small orc that has a makeshift ghillie suit of trash thrown over top of him. He hears you climb up and kind of looks over at you, pokes his head out and nods, and then ducks himself back underneath.
Is he one of the Yearsies?
No. This it's the hosting gang, Scalpers. Is that right, Az?
Yes, it is.
So since this is kind of everybody else's first look at him, do you want to describe what this gang looks like or how they tend to handle themselves?
Well, they're called the Scalpers because that's what they do. When you are a small tribute gang in an area that's run by the Crimson Crush, you need to make sure that people know that you're not to be messed with. So when they call themselves the Scalpers, that's exactly what they do. They're all Orc control. They are fairly okay to work with as long as you pay up. Like, not the kind of gang that after you pay up, they still beat the shit out of you anyway. You know, if you pay up, we'll give you the standard gang protection, which, you know, in terms of what that means is they won't take your shit, but they won't protect you if other people try to take your shit because you're not part of the gang. But that's pretty good protection when you live in Redmond. And I mean, that's I think pretty much all that we had for them.
Yeah, I was just thinking if you had anything else that you wanted to add to it.
No, I don't think so because I don't think anyone's seen me yet, right? No one's seen no one's seen any of my wires.
Oh, that's right. Where are the extra sensors?
Yeah, well, we said you had that I had like reactivated some like old like pre-crash garbage level school security system or something.
Yes. You basically have cameras over all the entrances and most of the hallways.
Okay, I probably would have put one near the roof entrance as well, just in case, just to know if something came down there. And then other than that, it would just be the wires running to get to the bombs at the entrances. But they would all be going through the old conduits and through the trash and stuff because I was making the rolls to snake all that, and I succeeded very well on those rolls, far beyond what I thought I was going to get. So
yeah, you got 7 and 6 successes on like 12 dice.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Rather impressive.
Yeah, I saw the rolls, and when I saw the note about demolitions and jury rigor, I just thought, oh god.
Demolitions with a spec and IEDs.
It's like if MacGyver was evil. That's how I think about that.
Nice.
The best kind of character.
On drugs.
Yeah.
For those of you who are nearby the doorway or able to listen in, there's a ton of arguing and screaming amongst these guys. Would all of you please roll etiquette checks as well as perception?
Okay. Can I use Evil War?
Yes.
Would this qualify as street etiquette?
Definitely street etiquette.
Do you want a second set of perception rolls from Juliet, or do the prior ones?
No, those will stick.
Okay.
The type of screaming and yelling going on is very much posturing. It's all the leaders trying to make themselves seem bigger and more in charge than what they are. It's very much posturing of where it very much seems to be like they're jostling for a bigger piece of the pie than what everybody else has, versus them actually being angry with one another. As things just slowly begin bullying over, it finally gets to the point of where there seems to be some sort of consensus of where they're actually starting to draw out plans on how they're actually going to join up, who's going to be in charge of what, how things are actually going to work. I don't want to bore you with all that because politics, who cares? And it's gang politics. So really, who cares? And this is when Improv, are you actively watching your cyber deck?
I would imagine so.
All right, would you make me a matrix perception check then?
Ooh, let's see what we got here.
You begin noticing, because almost everybody here outside of a handful are just running comlinks. You begin noticing every now and then a couple of new icons begin appearing that weren't there before.
Is there anything running silent here?
Yes.
Ooh. What are these new icons?
They appear to be, they still appear to be comlinks, but they're none that were here beforehand. So either somebody's turning on new ones, or there's just something else going on that wasn't before.
Okay, I'm gonna warn Corbin about that because as far as I know, this is the gang that I'm supposed to protect, and they can probably kill me pretty fast if I don't help them out. So I better do that. What is the rating of one of these new comm links? Just as it flickers on.
None of them are above a 3.
Okay.
But after several minutes, it eventually gets to the point of where there's only about 20 or so newer icons that aren't really doing anything. They're just kind of sitting there. There's nothing going on with them, or that there's nothing major that has happened. And then, who were the two on the ground floor?
Kennel and Horatio, I believe.
Yeah, I was outside of the door, between the door and the truck.
Okay, I'm gonna try and figure out where one of these newer ones are. I'm gonna try and see what's going on. I'd be going for a second mark after this. Well, actually, no, I'd be going for a snoop after this. Actually.
There doesn't appear to be much going on with the comlink.
Okay, I'll just hold that. I'll just hold that while everyone does their stuff.
Would the two of you make perception checks?
Matrix, visual, or general?
Visual.
What a show off.
They call me Eagle Eye on the street.
Horatio, you notice coming up. So you're an orc, correct?
Yep.
You notice just for a moment that fairly close to the chain link fence that's around this place, something. It's not quite like you just catch movement. It's hard to tell if it was an animal, a dog, or if it's something else. There was something just outside of the fence.
Well, this seems, he's not terribly bright, but he's got a good gut feeling for things. This feels like some scaver activities, They like to lurk in, and then when you're not looking, they overwhelm you, and then they take all your good stuff, like your straws that you get from Stuffer Shack, which you can redeem for exactly one Azatlan dollar, which is 1/100th of a new yen. So he'll kind of move out a little bit, to see if he can get a little closer look. Because even if it's just dogs, that's good eating.
So you walk out closer to the fence.
Yeah, he'll go kind of look around a little bit.
How close are you wanting to get?
Well, in the trids, like this one trid, Stalker Through the Barrens, they always talk about doing perimeter checks. So that's what he's gonna do.
So you're gonna be like right up against the fence?
Yeah, that's right.
Can we see this little orc doing all of this?
Yes, you would.
Would it be possible to do another perception check to try to figure out what it is that he's doing?
I think that would be more judge intentions. Yeah, he just appears to. How does Horatio walk? Does he have like a strut?
So he's just swaggering over to the fence.
Oh, exactly. He's got he's trying to make it big in the crush, right? And he's sort of been doing odd jobs for them, and so he's got like his the bright red kind of urban camo thing, but none of the patches that an actual patched in crush member would have, and his gold plated AK, because not actually real gold, but just enough to look flashy and cool. It's like he takes those steps that are just actually a little bit too big for his frame, because he grew up in the Barrens and he never really got enough to eat, so he's actually kind of a little bit on the thin side for an orc.
So he's walking like he's trying to free a wedgie without using his hands.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Mr. GM, I'm not trying to like metagame and also see what's outside the fence, just trying to figure out why this little orc with the shiny gun is walking away all of a sudden.
I mean, metagaming to an extent is fine.
I'll just keep an eye on him just to make sure he's not getting froggy since he rolled up with the other gang. And I'm here for my people, not for his people.
With how he's walking, and considering he's just strutting by the fence, it literally just looks like he's trying to stretch out a hammy.
You know how it is when you're at the dog park and you see like that little chihuahua thing go around behind it, and you know something's going to come up. So that's why Kennel's just a little bit on edge. So we'll let him live. We won't jump out him and freak out quite yet. Horatio,
would you mind making me one more perception? As you begin walking by, whatever you saw, it appears to have left now. You don't see any more movement. You don't see anything dashing by, and nothing goes on. Juliet, I'm also going to have to ask you to make me a perception check here. Actually, both you and Improv. 2 new ones.
Okay. Hey.
Juliet. Well, actually, both of you. You both hear a bit of a screaming noise. You at least hear it first. It starts off very quiet, just kind of, no, not so much a screaming, a whistling. Just a.
Uh-oh.
Can she pinpoint direction?
Yes. It's coming from. Actually, no, give me a roll real quick. She could potentially pinpoint direction. Oh, yeah. It's coming from above you.
The first reaction is to dive flat for any particular bit of cover she can, and then look up.
This is kind of where we're going to kick off things. As you dive for cover, something that looks very similar to a grenade lands not far from where you were standing, but practically on top of the orc, or the trash orc that was up there with you, as an explosion then goes off. So as this explosion goes off, it explodes, sends Trash Man tumbling over the side. Wilhelm scream, if you want to picture that. As a small hole opens up in the roof, and those of you who are outside begin hearing the cacophony of full auto fire.
Coming from inside or coming from outside?
Coming from outside. Horatio and Kennel, you see it first. Muzzle flashes begin popping up from the buildings that are across the street on the back end, as well as one or two closer behind some sort of cover.
What are the gangs inside doing?
Currently nothing.
Okay.
Well, then Kennel will whistle and yell for Hoder, and he will run into the building, because I got to make sure my ride out of here isn't getting, jacked inside or anything like that.
Horatio?
We're gonna go take cover somewhere near the door, because I'm assuming our guys are gonna start piling out, and I'm gonna try and give them some cover fire for when they do.
We're gonna ask Corbin what the hell's going on. If I should detonate a couple bombs.
Yeah. After a second, I'm just gonna say, like, all of this was like happening at the same time. Like as the mortar went off, as the gunfire went on, all this happens at once. Kennel, as you run inside, you see basically everyone in pull a gun or some sort of weapon and begin pointing it at someone, trying to figure out what the crap is going on. Yeah, it very much looks like they're all on a hair trigger, about to begin shooting one another. Okay, improv, you holler into Corbin, ask him what's going on. He says, who's turned?
I don't know. But what I am watching is if either of the gangs in the blast area looks like they're turning a gun on our guys, we're gonna push that button. So let's hope they don't do that. That would be a problem.
All right, so they're all pointing guns at one another. Nobody's inside has pulled the trigger yet.
Okay, sorry. Yes. Okay, so then if one of them pulls the trigger on our guys, then they're going down.
So basically, we have all of the gang leaders inside are in a Mexican standoff, just pointing guns at each other.
Yeah, all of them sitting there screaming at each other. It's like, did you break it? Look at basically all of them everybody's accusing one another of being the traitor who is screwing with everyone.
Whoa! It ain't none of us. It's just some people popped up with gats outside.
So you're just saying this?
Yeah, just yelling it into the room with my hands up to show I'm not carrying a firearm or anything. Trying to calm the group a little bit so that they know it's not us, because I really don't want to die for my just for getting hired as a little bit of muscle.
Is it negotiation that's a stand-in for diplomacy?
Diplomacy is a spec in negotiation, yeah.
So yeah, roll me negotiation if
I can do that.
And if you have the spec in diplomacy, you get that. First impression still applies.
3 hits.
Are you happy with that amount of successes?
Oh, this feels kind of important, so I am going to spend one of my 2 precious edge points, and I will re-roll 8 dice. Oh my god.
Jeez. Okay.
My social limit is only 6, though.
Still, that beats the threshold I had set. Yeah, everyone who is originally pointing guns at one another figures out, oh, this is from outside. This is someone else. All the leaders begin shouting at their guys, getting their butts back into gear, figuring out what's going on, and begins telling them to spread out. Improv, and Juliet. At this point is when you begin hearing or seeing, depending on however you want to take this, other cars that begin busting up through the chain link fence.
Oh, geez. We're going to tell Corbin that they're coming, and probably to tell everybody not to go out the door they came in because there's a bomb there now that we're probably going to be activating.
Well, they all came in the backside.
Well, yeah,
over at the gym.
Yeah, but I have bombs on all the exits. Oh, that door. Sorry, never mind.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll turn on the perimeter bombs then.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and from there, everything quickly changes step. Sully begins shouting commands, and the Forgotten Brothers begin spreading out very much in a very practiced manner. They all begin taking cover with overlapping fields of fire. The Iron Mutts try to get into like ambush points, and they begin watching the doors, waiting for somebody to come through.
They all pick up their rocks and their bone knives and get ready to tussle.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, they're looking to jump on whoever is coming through these doors first. Horatio, since you're on the outside, the vast majority of the guys who are out here are getting mowed down very quickly. And would you actually make me an attack action and dodge if you're trying to shoot at when the muzzle flash is going off, as well as dodge because you're going to get shot at with a bonus for cover because you took it.
That's +2, right?
Yes. Okay, yeah, it was only a threshold 3 to dodge, so congratulations. Well, like as the guys start going down, several of the cars don't so much. Oh, a couple of the motorcycles explode, whereas the cars begin very much looking like Swiss cheese. There's holes that are beginning to go all the way through, especially the ones that had a leather exterior, not interior. Those are awful, awfully chewed through. As a few metas begin coming through with gray and red clothing, they're just wildly spraying as they begin advancing towards you guys. As they begin advancing, you're able to pop 2 of them that instantly go down. You hit them. You hit one in the shoulder, one center mass, as they both drop. But there's more people coming in behind them.
We got to hold the line as long as we can. But once they, we're gonna focus on any of them that are smart enough to hold their guns sideways, because that indicates superior training and firepower.
Don't forget, you have to push it forward every time you pull the trigger to make the bullets go faster.
I really wish I had got 2 machine pistols. Did the dual wielding thing.
I so wish you would have.
Well, I know where I'm going to be spending my new yen. But once they start getting a little closer and he sees that he's going to be overwhelmed, he'll start to retreat inside. And when he does it, he'll be screaming, "The milk's gone bad!"
Wait, he screams what?
"The soy milk's gone bad."
Wait, what? What does that even mean?
It means we're getting overrun.
Come on, you always have to use cool code language whenever you deal with anything. You can't just say, my position's being overrun. You have to say something like, "The octopus is tangled." Like, you have to say something.
That's right. Because it's curdled.
I'm so glad I brought you along. As you begin retreating inside, this is when the 2 bombs out front begin going off. Do you pressure these improv, or like do you cause them to go off, or would it be other people coming in doing it?
Well, 2 of them were on tripwires, and the third, because I wasn't. So that one at the back corner would have been on a tripwire as well. I thought that's the door they were coming in from. So that's my bad. So all those other 3 would have been on tripwires.
Okay.
So if they're coming in from that way, they're gonna trip one.
They'll both get tripped on the backside.
Okay, it's a claymore.
Do you have like any sort of combat knowledge skill or anything here? On your character?
Yeah, I have a single rank of like street type small unit tactics. Like, I saw the gangs do this once.
Roll that for me, please.
All right. Hey.
This is very much, at least the guys who are coming in the side, very much don't look like your normal Barons gang. The way they're entering, they're doing it almost like cops would.
Jeez.
They're scanning. They're scanning up and down. They're looking for everything. They just happen to miss your tripwires.
Oh God, did I just kill 4 cops?
I don't know. Did you?
Oh jeez. This is what happens when you use bombs. You accidentally cops.
Hey, at least you're getting rid of all the evidence. I mean, they're going to turn
Yeah.
into a mist, which will blow away on the next dust storm. So come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and as the bomb goes off, because the way I'm picturing the cameras, like they're being just inside, like just above it, the tripwires go off in the front of the building. Just the facades of these buildings just disappear along with it. Just explode outwards. You see several of the people who are advancing begin taking cover behind stuff as the rubble begins setting. There's dust everywhere.
I would tell Corbin that's happening, and also it looks like they might be coming for you. But because of all the areas that are like collapsed, they might be coming through those front doors. If they are, let them get inside, and I'll trigger the big bombs. Right? Because if you said these areas are collapsed, it means unless they're coming in through that door the other guys came in, they have to like do an entry through that front door. And if they do, oh geez, Rick.
Originally, you were only going to have I was expecting 2 or 3 explosives. Just saying, I wasn't expecting 6 bombs. So, anyway, Juliet, you begin hearing. There's a couple of more mortars that hit the top as the roof begins collapsing in. So what would she do in this case? Like after the mortars actually have a moment of after they quit dropping, large areas have caved in down on top of whatever. What is Juliet doing here?
She is snatching the endoscope from where it's rolled up in her backpack, sticking it over the lip of the wall, and trying to spot people. Muzzle flashes, incoming enemies, if at all possible, where the mortars are located, if they're still firing, that sort of thing. She's not firing, she is not moving except to scuttle along behind the lip of the wall on the top of the roof, and she's transmitting everything that she's learning back to Rhino. Specifically, she's trying to keep an eye out to see if there's a gap in the line of the oncoming waves.
Does Juliet have any sort of firearms knowledge or anything of that sort?
Yes, she does. 1 second. Would trivia apply or no?
Yes, because this is very unusual.
Okay.
Juliet, that's decent enough. You hear a couple of pops, just and hear some clinking, and as you look over, you see some hooks. you see several hooks over the front. And from your trivia knowledge, you get the guess that this is probably a grapple gun, or grapple guns, rather.
She needs to start carrying a knife on her. Oh yeah, one other thing. There's a quick sniff of jazz somewhere along the line here. Should I roll for that now?
Yeah.
First of all, did she get a chance to see if they're coming from all directions, or just one direction mainly, before the grappling hooks started hitting?
Oh, this was something I failed to mention. These 2 gray blocks with the black outline, these are just rubble barricades that seems like where they've brought stuff out and stacked it up on the outside to block being able to get further in. All around here is where the grapple hooks are coming up. You have, there's about 9 that are coming up around this area.
Oh Jesus.
Okay. Are they? So they're all coming up from that direction. Is there any fire coming from the rear of the building, south side?
Well, from your hearing perception that you rolled earlier, yes, there is some sort of firefight going on behind you as well.
Okay. I'm guessing the building's at least roughly surrounded then.
It's a pretty good guess.
Okay.
Shortly after after the grapple hooks begin showing up, Horatio and Kennel, since you guys are in there, the Iron Mutts who were more or less posted up by the door just begin getting mowed down. Similar to how I told Improv, the guys who are stepping through are using the doorway itself as cover as they begin firing and picking off who they can and slowly working their way inside.
Now, I got 3 hits on a perception check to find like a brick or a cinder block, something troll hand size that I could throw.
It wouldn't be an issue at all. 3 separate parts of the roof have had holes blown through them, and there's plenty of rubble that you're able to get to if you want to.
Excellent. Well, if I see any targets of opportunity, I will start chucking debris at them.
In the meantime, as soon as Juliet
sorry.
notices the grappling hooks, she's just going to start popping up for a moment, aiming straight down, and actually, no. What are the grappling hook fibers made of? Is it metallic? Is it normal nylon? What?
What was your perception check earlier? This last one.
Visual 5.
It's very small and hard to see. I'm just going to give you that.
She's going to touch the melee contact of her Defiance Shocker to the rope and trigger it. Let's see if it's conductive, shall we? There's a thump. She knows!
We'll get there. We'll get to that in just a second. Improv.
Yep.
What are you doing in all of this?
Well, like I said, I was doing my best to. So I would imagine that someone who is like a tech expert and does all that, like she knows how to shoot a gun, but I can't imagine she's a particularly brave individual, just in general. I feel like that, is fairly fitting, given that you're a human who lives in an area that's like heavily orc and gang and stuff. You'd figure out ways to just not get involved, right? So she is trying to feed information from the cameras. They know like where dudes are coming from. And specifically identifying as they move through the halls. She's trying to make as little noise as possible, because the lair door is closed. It's not on the main path, so she doesn't want to have to deal with that. She has the bomb ready to go, and that one probably wouldn't be tamped because she doesn't want to kill herself. She just wants to fucking just annihilate anyone standing outside that door, right? Or it would be tamped, but in a perpendicular direction in a parallel direction, so it doesn't break the door. And she would mostly be, again, feeding info and saying, like, if you can, get them to come in the path of those big bombs, because if they stack up as an entry team and come into the path of those big bombs, they're not going to be there anymore. Explosives, they're horrifying.
And again, at this point, you hear one more explosion go off. Improv, that's your last tripwire.
Okay.
They're
coming in.
Yeah, your last tripwire goes off. And through the camera that you have in the front hallway, down through this area, the gangers who were tucked in behind separate cover, as they began getting poked up, they actually seem to be doing pretty well. They're poking up and seem to be forcing whoever's trying to come in back. All right, at this point, I know we've kind of been going in cinematic. We're kind of going to go. This is kind of like where I want you to kind of introduce your character, how they fight, what exactly they're doing, and what they're going for. Ratio, as there's a small stream of guys that begins pouring in, laying down automatic fire. Well, or at least trying to put down automatic fire. As they begin coming in and stepping through, what does Ratio look like? How does he actually fight and do all of this? Do his thing?
Well, he lacks any formal training. So when Horatio fights, he kind of stands out in the open and crouches ever so slightly. He holds his AK out and to the side, where it's not even entirely braced on the shoulder. It's got a foregrip though, so that kind of helps. Of course, the foregrip has been duct taped back together, so it loses a little bit of the coolness from the gold, the faux gold, on the outside. And he tries to dodge around the bullet fire because he hasn't really been shot enough to realize that that's not an effective way to fight. And he relies on being bigger and tougher and being able to get shot more than the other guy in order to win, because that usually works. He's screaming the entire time he's fighting. Since he's probably heard that these are cops by this point, and they've been shooting his fellow brothers in arms, which are the Redmond gangers. He's screaming out, "Take that, Chicharron!"
I'm sorry, did he just say take that, Chicharron?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I have no idea what that means, so
It's pork rinds.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Depending on which country, it's either pork rinds or like down here, it's uncured bacon that's deep fried, and that's chicharron.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
So yeah, after the first set goes down, a small explosion goes off to his left. Does he turn and begin firing? Does he as another small set of armored men come pouring in?
Well, at this point, he's probably used most of the ammo in the AK. So rather than reloading, as would be prudent, he'll let it go to the sling and quick draw the machine pistol with his other hand and start laying down fire that way while he retreats and gives the spot up.
All right, Kennel. In this case, you've had the breaching charge go off on the left. The guys begin streaming in from the doorway. What's he doing?
So Kennel is due to a lifetime under the scrutiny of parole officers due to his father being an ex-con. He never really had a chance to train with firearms. Like he has a shotgun at home, but that's more for a bang it in the air to scare people away kind of thing. So he trusts his fists and what he can throw. 'Cause that's the great thing when you're a professional dog walker, is you get really good at throwing things. You throw balls, you throw sticks, you throw whatever you need to. So he likes to if he thinks that something's going to go on, like he'll try to keep something near to hand. That's why he was looking for a brick earlier. Usually, if he can, he'll get up close. He has a brand new set of crime gloves, the kind with the shock pad built into them. That he would love to test those out on someone. But if people are firing machine guns, he's not going to run through a hail of gunfire just to punch a guy. So this great big troll who stands about 8.5 feet tall, is a little over 700 pounds. Um, Knowing him in the bravest of fashions, he would chuck the largest piece of concrete he could, effectively throw at these people, and turn and grab Brucey and try to get under some form of cover.
And just kind of going along with this idea, as another chunk of grief falls from the ceiling, and I'm just gonna say that's what Kennel ends up getting behind for cover, as a second breaching charge right next to you then goes off as a small ball-shaped object begins rolling through.
Is it close enough to do a right back at you?
Yes.
Oh god, this is gonna hurt. Apologies, I'm trying to remember exactly what to roll for that.
Agility plus throwing weapons. Or no, reaction plus agility to grab it, and then agility plus throwing weapons to throw it.
All right, so reaction plus agility first, and that'd be 3 hits.
And I think it's only a threshold 2. So yeah, you're able to scoop it up. Right? What exactly does Kennel do? Again, describe what he's doing.
So the wall would basically explode inwards, and Kennel would try to shield Brucey as much as he could. The advantage of being over 700 pounds is you can shield a lot of person. And as this thing comes rolling up to him, it's just reflex. It's like when he's walking the dogs through Bellevue. They drop the ball at your feet, you just grab it and you chuck it so that they run again. So it's an instinctive. He sees the ball and his brain says time to play fetch, and he will grab it and he will wing it back out through the newly formed hole in the wall.
Okay, as you chuck it through, you see 3 guys end up diving back in, or diving inside, trying to get away from the blast as it goes off. That they're scrambling to pick up their weapons, and they're within 2 or 3 meters of you.
Ooh, would it be close enough for somebody with 2 reach to kick him in the head?
At least one of them, yes.
Well then, hey, it would be insensitive of me to not greet him in the way of my people.
So you just punt him?
Well, yeah. These are the guys who are trying to break in, and they're trying to mess with the dude who hired me to keep them safe. So I got to earn my keep somehow. And that was one of the things my old man taught me when he got out of the pen. He taught me how to protect yourself. You always throw that kick, especially if you're a troll, because you can stretch those legs so far and you can hit a guy from across the room before he even knows you're there. So the goal is you try to kick one into the other guys, so it makes that Three Stooges style, three coconuts crashing into each other and falling on the ground.
Yeah.
All right, so you're kicking this dude into another dude.
If possible, yes, sir.
Make me the roll. Is it a +2 from them being prone, or is it +4?
Oh, be a +2. Let me add 2 dice to this. Would you like me to re-roll or just roll 2 more?
Yeah, just re-roll.
I think they get a penalty for being prone as well.
They do. It's lower than the threshold.
So that would be 4 successes, and I do have reach 2 with kick and being a troll.
Yeah, like I said, it's lower than the threshold. I'm not doing all of this. Like, I'm not rolling all of this personally. I'm just setting just thresholds for this because it's cinematic point.
Not to be completely horrifying, but these are plasteel boots, so they have the +1 to my strength, so it's a base of 9p. Sorry, guys.
Nice.
19.
So yeah,
No, 9p, Papa, for
Okay.
physical.
Phew.
So yeah, as you step up to punt this man in the ribs, you hit him. He comes, like he's on his hands and knees trying to stand up. You punt him. He lifts up off the ground as he tumbles over into another one of his buddies. And the third one is just now coming to his feet as he turns and sees this troll. He reaches for a combat knife, pulls it out.
Well, how rude.
So yeah, seeing you right there, he then charges at you. And this big troll, get him out of the way. What does Kendall do?
So he is charging at me with a knife, yes?
Yes.
Well, I should probably reach out and give him a little slap on the face with these lovely stun gloves I have. Or would you like me to roll the reaction plus intuition to get away from the knife first, or would you like me just to
No, again, this is cinematic kind of.
Right.
Wanted to get you guys thinking like how exactly did you fight? So come later, we're all on the same page. As well as it's fun to think about this stuff.
That would be another 4 hits with reach 1.
4 hits with reach 1, you said?
Yes, sir.
So he comes running up with the knife, and you just like throw a jab at him, or you grab the knife, hit him. What exactly is going on here?
It would be as he ran toward me, and again, this is all stuff that I learned from my old man. He used to work for the cops with the drug dogs, and of course he went corrupt because trogs do what trogs do. And one of the things he taught me was that when he was in prison, people would always try to drive a shank into you. So it turns into this reflex thing where the knife starts coming forward and you slap the wrist out of the way. But sometimes if you just grab that wrist when you have these shock gloves on, it sends a jolt through the whole guy's body. So it's like a combination deflecting the knife and, well, I mean, who wears armor on their wrist? So there's some exposed skin right there. So it's a quick grab at the forearm or the wrist area, give him a shock and to see if he drops.
You feel him sag, but like he drops the knife, but he's not out.
Well, the dog with no teeth ain't that scary to me, so I like what I'm hearing.
In this case, you didn't. You said Hodor is not trained in combat, correct?
Yes, I didn't want to bring in the first one as a combat hound. Basically, he has companion, so he's housebroken and he knows some basic tricks, and he has armor use. So he will eventually get trained for combat, but I do not have him trained with attack commands or anything like that.
What's his intelligence or his logic? Sorry.
On a dog is logic 2.
What's his intuition?
I think it's 4. I am pulling it up right now. All right, intuition of 4, logic of 2.
Nope, he derps out.
He is over.
As you as you grab this guy's wrist, you see him jerk up. The dog's in the background kind of cocks his head, just stares at you with a big goofy grin on his face.
And that's exactly how I imagine this dog being. Oh, the great things I spend money on.
So do you finish the guy off? Do you throw it back out?
I would give him another shock just to put him out. Kennel wasn't specifically told that this is a kill anybody who comes up thing, so it's more of a try to stop the opposition and get Brucey out of there. Because I mean, if he wants me to kill people, he's got to pay me to be a hitter. He just told me, be a little bit of muscle and provide some security. That's all. So if I could maintain the grip on him, it would just be like drive a knee to the face or kick him as hard as I can in the ribs, just something to knock him out.
Yeah, which it does. Again, I'm just trying to figure out exactly what's his priorities in
Yeah,
fighting.
Kendall basically has a mild phobia, like not the quality, but in actuality, like he's a little bit afraid of cops because they already took his dad away. He got put in the system, so he tries to go as non-lethal as possible. So he's a little nervous sometimes about going full strength and killing people because he doesn't want to end up in the pen like his old man did.
Juliet, we're going to jump to you. As you take your Defiance EX Shocker and hit the rope with it, a man with a ballistic mask with a modified like combat helmet to work with it. He just begins to peek his head over as you shock the rope. His body tenses up as he then falls backwards, screaming, and lands with a thud, with a wet thud. And at this point, you see four guys who are then pulling themselves up over the ledge.
Okay, so 4 are just getting over their insight. It's time to shove the shocker back in the waistband, pick up the assault rifle from its sling hanging at her side, and hose him down. This is going to be, let's see, you said there were 4?
Yes.
And they're still clambering over the edge.
Yeah, they're just now starting to pull themselves up over.
Yeah, we're going to do the suppressive fire. This is going to be with explosive ammo. Base damage will be, I believe it was 11p. Yeah, 11p, AP minus 2.
So yeah, as they've been clambering over, does she like aim with her suppressive fire? Does she have it down at her hip, like doing like the Rambo style, or?
She'd pull it back up to her shoulder.
Look at this trained professional over here, looking like she knows what she's doing.
So yeah, as they're like just getting their shoulders over, like their waist is hanging off to the side. You begin spraying them. One explodes in a paste of gore as you see like his back feet fall. Another one's head pops off as the other two end up falling back down, trying to get away from your fire. There's also another dull thud as they land. Now, is she standing like in? Do you want her like standing like directly in the middle? Do you want her closer to one of the sides?
She would have had to crawl over to one of the ropes to shock it. So at the moment, she's just scrunched down behind the lip of the wall. She'd be firing from that angle, or whatever necessary to roughly hit all 4 in a cone of fire.
Yeah, and we'll say they were on the opposite side of the wall, or on the opposite wall of you.
She's hugging the wall at all times. She does not want to peek out.
As you end suppressing, 3 more on your side of the wall finish stepping over. One goes to quick draw his pistol, shoots it in your direction. Does she try to dodge the fire? Does she just soak it? Does she go for cover again?
She's got all 3 in. She can just swing. Yeah, let's say she goes to dodge and fire. Again, just spraying wildly at this point from the hip because she can't dodge. And then bring it back up probably in time.
So you do dodge it. Well, it's a grazing hit. So he pulls his pistol out. It's very much Ares Predator. We get the flash of the logo as he shoots. It instead of like hitting you directly on, like it catches into the side of your jacket, and then as you release another burst of ammunition to this guy, parts of him turn to jelly as he disappears behind the explosive ammunition that you're putting into him at close range. What about the other 2?
Yeah, same tactic. Just spray in their direction as they're coming over the wall.
She's so efficient.
This is why AKs with extended clips. Just plug in another banana.
Well, just refer to it as the fire hose method.
Yeah.
It's a hot day. You're making sure everybody has a chance to cool down a little bit. That's all.
Even though they're in close range, and they're just now pulling out their weapons, with yours still underneath you, you light them up as they as they two eventually end up falling. Improv.
Yep.
She's cowering underneath the desk, right? Doing the best
Yeah.
she can.
Yeah, she has her gun ready, but she does not want to expose herself if she doesn't have to. But it sounds like there's a couple dudes banging on this door, right?
After a couple of seconds, because there's very few people who went this way, you hear the door get kicked in.
Oh, would I have seen them on the camera outside the door?
Yes.
Okay, so how many of them are there?
We'll say 4.
Okay. Well, then one last question. Based on my cameras, are there still like the gang dudes in the main hall?
I wouldn't so much call them dudes anymore as cadavers.
So there's so there's no friendlies there anymore.
No.
Okay. So what is the way out that she would see that has the fewest dudes?
She could attempt to bust through the wall.
We don't have
or
any. We don't have any more bombs. We're gonna have to try and sneak our way out.
Well, you have the one just outside of your lair.
Oh yeah, but that one's gonna be exploding.
Which is where that's where they're at.
Yeah. That one's gonna be exploding in about a second. She's just trying to figure out the way that she's gonna go to try to get out. Because right now she doesn't know anybody else here, and she just wants to not die. But we can figure that out later. Right now, there's 4 dudes with guns who are about to kill her. So let's trigger that bomb. That's tamped to strike the door. Are these guys like stacked up, like entry team style?
Yes, they are.
Oh, Jesus! This is gonna be real bad for them then, huh? We're gonna trigger that bomb.
Bouncing grenades.
Yeah, man. These guys are properly enflated right now. With a shrapnel bomb, which I'm sure is going to end great for them. So we are going to trigger that, and as we're triggering it, we're going to jump up and run forward, so that like a second after it goes off, we can like jump out the door and gun down anyone who might be wounded and struggling to stay alive. Because in the Barrens, you make sure to always kill someone when they're wounded.
Double tap. It's a rule to live by.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, the nail bomb that has been that you had, I'm guessing, like tucked behind some sort of desk or something.
Yeah.
Explodes outwards, just pastes these guys against the wall, or pastes 3 of them up against the wall. There's one who has fallen into the door. She jumps over the desk. He's laying there, struggling, somewhat breathing.
We are gonna shoot him in the face.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll. Like he's on the ground. He's wounded. He's going for like a trauma patch. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna shoot him in the face several times.
Whoa. Let's be clear. He wasn't going for a trauma patch. Clearly, he was going for an illegal weapon with which to murder you. So this is self-defense, right?
Absolutely self-defense. That's the way to think about it. That's the proper way to think about it.
This isn't Siggy.
Question: in the main hall, now since all our friends there are dead, is there anyone in the range of the 2 giant bombs?
We'll get to that.
Okay, sorry. Just because I want to use that as a cover as she tries to sneak out.
No, we'll get to that. I'm saving that.
Okay. I'm probably the biggest thing right now is to get away from the building, because they are going to sweep this entire building and kill everybody. So we're probably going to try and sneak out the door to the north there that the tripwire went off, because these guys would have already cleared those northern rooms. So they've already swept and cleared this area, which means there's probably less dudes there. There might only be the perimeter guy. So we're going to try and get the fuck out that way. Do you want me to roll a sneak?
Yeah, if you want to go for there.
Yeah, we are getting the hell out of here, because when shit kicks off in the Barrens, the way you survive is you get out.
Yeah, well, I just want to remind you, like, there's also that little ramp to the roof that you can take as well.
See,
if you want to do that or not. If you think she wouldn't go for it, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think she would.
I just want to remind.
Yeah, because she's not the kind of person that's gonna like rappel down the side of a building or something, and going up to the roof when I can hear gunfire up there and there were like mortars going off. Seems like the kind of thing where it'd be like, I don't know about that one.
No, that makes perfect sense. I just
no.
wanted to see.
We do not like that roll. We're gonna use our first of 7 edge.
Hey, Mr. GM, with 2 hits on a police procedures street, this invading force, does it feel like cops or just trained people?
With 2 hits, it's hard to tell. If they're cops, they're not taking prisoners. They're not trying to arrest anyone.
Okay, so long as they do not obviously feel like cops, that's all I needed. I am good.
Okay. She, as as Improv begins sneaking away the the dust from all the explosions that you've caused, it is still very much heavy in the air. Does she
Help me
ever
speak.
does she have a respirator or a gas mask or something like that?
She has a respirator. Yeah, you wouldn't live in the Barrens with that one. Probably not like a full gas mask because I can't imagine people just walk around in full gas masks every day. That seems a bit weird. But I mean, I imagine everyone who lives in Redmond would have a cheap respirator, right? Just because. Well, I mean, if you can afford it, most probably can't. But
What does that look like? What is her respirator? Is it just like a basic like black tube that goes over her mouth, or?
I mean, I would imagine hers is actually probably more effective than other people's, if only because she could get it and then like optimize it, right, with like hardware,
Makes
right? Because she could probably like jury rigger like 3 extra canisters on it. It's only supposed to take 1 filter, but if you take these 3 filters and kind of cut them up and mix them together like this, and then shove them in there and put duct tape around it, it works like way better, or something like that, right?
Sure, I guess.
Jury rigger and
Never,
engineering.
never underestimate how amazing duct tape and PVC can be.
Oh yeah, man. Her bombs were just metal tubes full of packed explosive, duct taped up, and you fill a Ziploc bag with little metal fragments, duct tape that onto the outside of the canister.
A nail bomb.
Yeah,
You
it's
shouldn't have
great.
stopped there. You should have gone full evil and put like a bunch of glitter in there. Because you know how it is. Like, you rip to shreds by a bomb and you're like, great, this glitter will never wash out of my intestines. It's going to be there for years now. Good job.
Or you find something that would cause the wound to go gangrenous, and just fill it in there. Just find some scum slime, drop
Well,
it in there.
You're already in the Barrens. That's already a given.
That's true. But anyway, yeah, we'll do that. Oh, yeah, oh shit, you've omerta. Yeah, if we're wasting cops, this is gonna be super bad. Oh boy, Rick, this is gonna be great.
That's why I said I'm actually glad I couldn't tell right away they were cops. So now I'm not violating any code of honor and I'm good.
Nice.
Like I said, it's hard to tell because they're not looking for prisoners. They're not looking for anybody to arrest. They're just coming in and mowing people down. So as you begin sneaking away, you begin working your way to the north corner, and as you begin stepping outside, or well, start stepping into like the atrium to get outside, in walks what looks like some sort of, it's just like in combat gear. This is the person coming in behind them with a pistol, just because they have to be armed. They have to be wearing an armored vest.
Have they seen me?
Yeah, like as you run the corner, they're right there. Like you're both like, oh, hi. You blast that dude to Kingdom Come.
It's like, oh shit, hold the trigger down.
So yeah, like, is she very much like panicked or like a panic shot, or?
Oh yeah, this was.
Or what does this look like?
Yeah, this was so. Again, she knows how to use a gun pretty well because the Barrens. You got to know how to use a gun. 4 ranks, so she's a little more than competent with it. She practiced a bit, but she's trying to sneak out. The second line dude comes in, they bump into each other. They bump into each other, and she's like, "Oh shit, fuck!" and just kind of like and just hoses him down, and then just tries to run away because this place is fucked. Oh god.
Yup.
I was about to say, would you mind making me one more sneaking?
Yep, you got it. Oh, yep. One last thing. Did he have a microtransceiver by any chance?
No, he did not.
I'm not taking a
at least not one that you can see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because this is the Sixth World who uses microtransceivers outside of runners and Barrens gangers.
True. Yeah, I was just looking for it because if you could do a wireless off one, I would, just to know where they are. But I'm not bringing their comlink with me when they can just trace it. So yeah, blow the shit out of this guy, and then I'm like, oh shit, let's go.
Are you happy with that amount of successes?
That's my physical limit.
Okay. As you begin sneaking away, you hear a few people begin yelling at you. Or
shit.
yelling like, hey, there's one.
Oh,
As
shit.
fire begins pouring in your direction.
Run away. I have a smoke grenade. Can I detonate my smoke grenade?
Yes.
I'm going to detonate my smoke grenade. Then I'm going to run. Run away. Do you want a running test?
No.
Okay.
You're fine.
I am watching those last 2 bombs, though. If there's anyone there, I'm just going to set them off to cover my escape as half the building collapses.
Hold on. At this point, the rest of you, as you're sitting here firing, trying to keep people out, all of your all the people who you were supposed to be protecting, they're alive. They're still fighting with a small group of guys apiece. You're able to keep people back, keep the group out. Do any of you have like vehicles knowledge or anything of that sort?
Nope.
Nobody?
I have smuggler routes, but that's as close as it gets. Oh, street racing. Would that apply?
At a -2?
How about farming? I have 1 rank in farming. Would that be good?
That'd be like a -5.
Well, I have -1 dice. Never. I'll just. Yeah. I'll go back over here. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Yeah, through your street racing knowledge, Horatio, it's more from like stories that you've heard that you can identify this thing. Out from the front end of basically where everything was considered collapsed, through it tears this massively armored axe of a car. The front is is shaped very much like a wedge. There are 2 guns in the front that are blasting away through the rubble as it begins pushing through everything else.
Oh, the Barrett Mobile.
The walls and the walls of everything that's around it is just collapsing around this thing as it plows its way through.
Well, I think that's enough for now. Tune in next week to find out what happens with this giant vehicle plowing through walls, and maybe we'll learn what happened with those last 2 explosive charges that Improv has set. Thanks for listening.